Hey guys, so I thought today I would try my hand at this whole reading vlog business. I've never done a reading vlog, and I have not actually vlogged in like a really long time where it's just like relaxed and whatnot. So I thought I thought that I would do that, and that it would be kind of fun. I finished The Book Thief the other night, and oh my goodness, that book wrecked me. Like, it ripped my heart out. It chewed it up into little pieces and it spat it back out. Like, that book just broke my heart. And honestly, I think I saw the movie like maybe 5 years ago. It was a long time ago. I wrote in the book, I think, that I bought it, or sorry, I put it not in the book. I looked on Goodreads to see when I added it to my TBR, and it was back in 2013, so at least 5 years ago, and I think that was around when I saw the movie. But it's been so long since I've seen the movie that it was like a completely brand new story. Like, all I could remember was that there was a girl who goes into like a foster home, and I literally couldn't remember any of the characters. I knew that they hid a Jewish man in their basement for a while. Like, those are the things I remember, but I didn't remember what happened to him. I completely forgot like everyone's name. I completely forgot everything. And then I read that book, and oh my goodness, it tore my heart apart. So after finishing that 2 nights ago, last night I decided to start a new book, or I was going to start a new book, and I just knew it was going to be like a tough act to follow for whatever I read next. And so if you watched my July, I think it's my like July and August video, I said that I was not going to finish this time around. So I decided I would finish I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and I have strong bad feelings about this book. I feel like I'm the only person, like, I even went on Goodreads to edit my review because I had already reviewed it once. I decided to edit it, and I think I'm like the only person who gave it a bad review. And I wanted to show you a couple of things I got in the mail. So I got Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I'm very bad at names sometimes, but I got this book. It looked really interesting. Again, it follows like World War II, I believe. Like, I'm kind of in love with World War II books, or books that surround World War II or that time frame. I don't know what it is about like the struggle, but I find it really interesting to read about, and I thought this book sounded really good. Honestly, I can't remember what it's about now, but I'm interested to read it. I don't really like reading synopsises that much because I feel like sometimes they're full of spoilers. I'll usually read like the first page or an excerpt from the book, and if I like the writing style, I'll just go with it and see what happens. I don't really like to be warned. And then I've been watching Murphy, I think her name is Murphy Napier, on YouTube. She has like a booktube channel. She is so cute. And I wouldn't say that we necessarily have the same taste in books, because she does seem to like a lot of fantasy, and I think she likes a lot of classic books, which I want to read but I have not gotten into. But anyway, I have been like binge watching her videos lately. I'll try to remember to link her down below or in a card or something. If you don't know Murphy Napier, she's just so cute, and she has a little boy, and she does a lot of reading vlogs, and I just think it's adorable. And the other day she was talking about Peter Pan and about how like whimsical of a story it is, and so I thought, honestly, I was kind of obsessed with the cover. I looked around online to see where I could get this particular cover, just because I thought it was so pretty. I ended up finding it on, I think, Book Outlet for like, oh yeah, these are both from Book Outlet. I think one was like $7 and this one was like $5 maybe. But she made it sound like a really sweet story, and I know I've seen the movie, but I've heard the story is a little bit different. so I am interested to read that. Getting into the current read, I started last night reading The Home for Unwanted Girls. For some reason, at first I thought this was actually set in England for some reason, but it's actually set in Quebec. So essentially it's about this girl. She ends up getting pregnant. Her parents make her give away the baby and it ends up in like an orphanage, which I just think is absolutely horrible. I can't imagine being so embarrassed by something that you would just hide a person, like just get rid of a person. That's kind of disgusting to me. I'm looking forward to seeing where this book goes. I'm only 4 chapters in and it's a little bit juvenile, like in my mind. I think they're trying to kind of get you interested in like the romance between the girl and the guy that I'm assuming gets her pregnant. But I feel like there's a lot of backstory for what I was looking for, because in the little synopsis part it makes it sound like it's more about a mom and a daughter reconnecting, but so far it just seems like they're kind of dragging out how the baby was conceived. Hey guys, so it's a little bit later and I'm a little over 100 pages into The Home for Unwanted Girls and not really enjoying it. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw my post already. But essentially, I find the lead character like kind of stupid and kind of annoying, and I don't really like her. I'm trying to like her because I'm going to have to deal with her for the rest of the book, but I don't really like her. And I really don't like her dad and her mom. Like, sometimes her mom, it's like one of those weird things where like her mom isn't always horrible, but then all of a sudden she'll say something like terrible. And like her biggest insult for her daughter is saying like, you're just like your dad, which I think is like ridiculous to pin like an insult on a kid about their other parent. Like, I just think that's stupid. But then also her dad says similar things because he like, they're English speaking and her dad like hates French Canadians and thinks they're all poor and stupid, even though his wife is French Canadian. And then whenever the daughter points that out, he says like, well, there's nothing I can do about that now. I don't really like any of the characters. And then the love interest was like not awful. Like, he wasn't really anything. He had like almost no substance. They decided to make some steamy sex scenes, which is creepy because during those scenes she's only 15. And then there's one really awkward scene where her uncle is like a total I hate her uncle. Her aunt's not too bad. They're super snobby, but they're not actually rich. It's like they just want to look better than other people, but they aren't really rich. He just owns a seed store and hates French Canadians because like, and that point has been driven home. Like, you know that everyone hates French Canadians and the French Canadians hate all the English-speaking people, and it's like, okay, I get it. Can I have something else? But I don't have good feelings towards this book. Okay guys, it has been a little while. I am back. The kids are in bed. I just started reading a little bit more of this book. I'm like a couple pages after the last update that I made. And oh my goodness, this book is so bad. Like, when I said it was written in kind of a juvenile way, like, I wasn't kidding. So essentially, all of the orphanages in Quebec, or I don't know if it's Montreal or Quebec or I don't know, the area, become mental hospitals so that they don't have to educate the kids anymore. So essentially, the mother of the house, so they're all like sisters, they're all nuns and whatever, the mother comes in and she tells the kids that today is a change of vocation day, and then she says there will be no more school. From now on, the orphanage will be a hospital. So you're like, okay, I kind of get that they're going to tell the kids this. And then what does that mean one of the older girls asks. Now, this next sentence, I swear, even back then, I swear no one would have actually said these words. It says, "Just as I said," she responds sharply, "we are now a mental hospital. There is no more orphanage and no more orphans. From this day forward, you are all mentally retarded." Who would say that? Even back then, they probably would have just said, "There's no more school. Be quiet." But like, who's gonna tell a room full of kids that they're all mentally retarded? Like, and then the next question is, what is mentally retarded? And then it says, it means you're mentally deficient. Do you understand? You're mental patients now. This is how we go forward. That's not a real life thing. Like, oh my, like, I know I thought this was cheesy before, but it's like, I keep hoping it's gonna get better, and it keeps getting worse. Hey guys, it is even later in the evening. Everyone is obviously asleep, and I just have more thoughts on this book. Like, this book is so dumb, and I'm not trying to like shit on anybody, but like, I just don't understand how the synopsis, which I finally reread, pertains to like what's actually happening. I am 175 pages in. 175 pages. I am over halfway, and she has still not gone to find her daughter. Like, she made one phone call inquiring about it, and that's like recently, like just happened. But like, for a book that I just assumed, like when I read it, essentially it talks about how she has like a boyfriend that her parents don't like. She gets pregnant at 15, and then it tells you the backstory of her daughter, which means that at the age she is in the book right now, there's got to be a lot of time to go before she's the age that she is when she apparently gets out of this asylum. And then it says Maggie's married to a businessman, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it tells you about this weird love triangle that's happening right now. Like, I don't really even hate Gabriel that much, because he doesn't really have much of a personality. Like, her husband seems like a total bag of dicks. But Gabriel doesn't really have a personality. Like, they don't really talk about his personality. They just talk about how hot he is all the time. So, like, the husband is a jerk, and the dad is a jerk, and the mom is a jerk, and her sisters can't keep a secret worth shit. And it's just like, everyone is kind of painted in bad light except for Gabriel, which is probably why I don't completely hate his character like I hate pretty much everyone else. But like, he doesn't really have a personality. So when I call him the love interest, he's not really a love interest. Like, it talks about how she loves him, and it talks about that she loves him, but like, there's nothing behind it. It's just so empty, and I don't get it. But like, and then it obviously shows her daughter is Elodie, which is easy to figure out because it tells you on the front cover if you actually read it. It tells you about her like time in the orphanage, and obviously I already read you that excerpt from the orphanage. It's not an orphanage, it's a mental hospital, blah blah blah. I don't like her. I don't even like her character, and she should be pretty likable. She's supposedly just a kid, but it's like, the writing seemed sort of fitting for like a 4-year-old when you first meet her, but then now she's like 10 and she knows everything, and I just don't get it. I'm trying to get through this book as fast as I can, but I'm like over halfway done, and what I thought was going to happen in the story is not even really starting to happen. It probably won't be happening for a while, which I just gathered from reading the inside cover. So there's that. I will talk to you next time.
My heart is. 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 My heart
Hey guys, I think the last time I talked to you guys it was technically Friday night, and yesterday we had plans to go visit Jared's grandparents, so we were there pretty much all day, so I didn't really do much reading yesterday at all. Today my cousin is coming to visit this afternoon, so I wanted to finish this book before he got here, because honestly if I take another break I don't think I would have finished it. I think I might have set it down and never touched it again. Oh, The Home for Unwanted Girls, what can I say? I feel like with the synopsis, it essentially lets you know that there's a girl, she gets pregnant at 15, she's forced to give up the baby. Later on, she has a family, and her and the daughter reconnect. Which is sort of right. That is what happens. But there is so much backstory, and none of it, okay, not none of it, most of it isn't necessary. Like, I feel like this book had so much filler and so many random side avenues that like the author was trying to incorporate, and it just didn't, it wasn't necessary. Like, I feel like most of the book was like, I mean, I feel like it was really badly written. That's my personal opinion. I looked at reviews after I finished it, and honestly it got like 4.23 stars on average or something like that. And I don't know if people were just expecting less than I was or what, but it was just so bad. And like, it just, I don't know. It was really bad. But honestly, she spends like 3/4 of the book just talking about her life and just talking about stuff in general. Like, you go from when she's 15 and she has the baby up until the baby is like 24 years old. Like, there's 24 years of like backstory. It's just so much. And it's not every year, because the times it will randomly, like, you'll be halfway through a chapter and you'll realize that it jumped forward like 3 years. And you're like, why was there so much empty space between this? Like, there wasn't a lot of searching in this book. Like, I thought this book was going to be about like a lady who was already like in an established family on her search for her lost child. That's what I thought it was going to be. And honestly, that was very little of the actual book. The actual book had to do with a girl who was in love with a guy who her dad didn't like, and then she ended up marrying someone else, and then that marriage didn't work out when she reconnected with the guy that she was originally apparently in love with, and then they end up together, and then there's like 15 more years or 13 more years of backstory while they're together and they can't find her, and like, but they're not really looking that hard. Like, they don't even actually find her. It's like another character in the book. It's like his work for the reason why they found her. Like, it felt like she gave very little effort to actually find her kid. Like, they went to a couple of places and they visited a couple of people, and the people essentially were like, we can't tell you anything, and then they gave up. Like, I feel like so much of this book was just like wasted time and filler, and there were like events that happened in the book that didn't need to happen. Like, there was like a really like horrific thing that happened, but it didn't need to happen for the book to be any different. Like, the book would have still turned out exactly the same had that extra chunk of pages not been there, or that extra like feud hadn't been there. So I definitely am putting that book on my do not recommend, and I'm sorry to the person who wrote it. I'm not trying to like they're a published author, they clearly did something, but if I was an editor, there are so many phrases, and there were a couple times where she used the same phrase like at least twice, and I'm like, do you not have any other words? Like, there had to have been, it was like the same phrase at least twice, and I noticed it because it was the same odd words that she used in both instances, and I did not enjoy that book. So I'm hoping that whatever I pick up next will be more fun. I'm gonna end the vlog here so it doesn't get too long, and I will talk to you all next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!